Conversate for a few.
Welcome to the next episode of Conversate for a Few. I'm Jonna.
I'm Alan. This is not a podcast about classical music.
Absolutely is not. This is a podcast about hip hop. What we doing today, bro?
Oh man, you know, gotta talk about Dark Man X.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of the biggest losses that hip hop has taken in a long time. We've taken a lot of. There's been a lot of losses, and of course, me saying that isn't to rob anyone else of the impact they left on the game.
Right.
But very few that have died have had the cultural impact, influence, career that DMX has had. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't know that there's many that's had the cultural, musical impact, but I would dare to say there's none that's had the spiritual impact that DMX had throughout his career, right? So
Absolutely.
if his music was trash and he was able to make as big a spiritual impact as he did, we would still be having this show. But it just so happens that he was a GOAT,
Yeah.
He was a
True
GOAT.
Yeah.
True definition of a GOAT. He was one of the greatest of all times, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
So first in peace. First is rest in peace DMX. But I don't know if I would even like to say rest in peace. I know you ain't on Facebook, so I'm gonna share it with you and the people and the fans that's on Facebook. You know what I mean? That's in the group. They have already seen it. You know what I mean? So I'll just tell you what I had to say and how I feel about it, and why I choose not to call it or I choose not to say rest in peace for DMX. Give me a quick second. I'll see if I can find it. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. But I'll just start with, DMX prayed with and for thousands of people every single time he hit the stage. Then add the millions of prayers heard on the albums people bought. Platinum twice in his first year, remember? Then add all the prayers at radio stations that were broadcast to millions. And he did some personal praying with those that were close to him, right? So I say, whatever you believe, I like to think DMX is getting all that positive energy back now. All those seeds he planted are bearing fruit. All the love he shared but couldn't capture for himself, he's getting now. I don't think if DMX is resting in peace. I imagine he's actively soaking it in, waiting through love the way he stalked the stage. An intense peace, if you can imagine that. If a soul can experience intense peace, that's what DMX is on right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I like that. And I agree 100%.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. And people like him, they don't rest.
Right.
They active.
Yeah, active. And if you ever watch DMX, he was all energy. Like he was akin to watching Kanye.
Yeah.
Like he was completely kinetic. You know what I'm saying? Like if he was standing there having a jovial, regular, everyday conversation with you, DMX is pacing within a 1 foot, within one fair squeeze, within one square foot. Within 1 square foot, DMX is pacing in that. You know what I mean? How if you could pace in a square foot, DMX was doing it. So he was 100% energy. You know what I mean? So and we all know energy never dies.
Right.
So
that's why, You know what I mean? He's immortal, man.
I will say, DMX may be at the top of the hip hop superhero list. Like if you were making superheroes out of rappers, the first one you grab is probably DMX.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Let me ask you this: How long did it take you to appreciate DMX as an artist?
It's funny. So DMX, it's a funny story. So, "Get at Me, Dog" was one of his first, if not his first single.
His first solo single.
first solo single. So I'm gonna put that to the side because I got something to say about that. But I liked him right away. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So DMX was one that I like. You know what I mean? It was funny. So he wasn't one that I didn't appreciate till years later. When It's Dark and Hell is Hot came out, I immediately was on it. It's certified classic, right?
Right.
And then, but before that, he's on stuff with Blocks. Like niggas that started something came out before the album dropped. Like he's on mixtapes, killing stuff. Like Get At Me Dog was actually on a mixtape before it was a radio.
Money, Power, Respect was out.
Money,
that.
Power, Respect was out. So
Yeah.
I already liked him, and I saw like his voice, but his energy was just so insane.
Yeah.
It just set him apart from everybody else that was rhyming at the time.
Okay.
You know?
See, that's the thing. Okay, for me, I go ahead. Go ahead. What you gonna say?
Then I was just saying. So at that time, his voice, his style was so different than everybody else style and the way they sound at the time. The only thing I thought about was because the time when he was entering the game was the time where also we were seeing kind of a shift in hip hop that we talked about with the Puff and Mace. Like, so my thing was like, okay, this dude is dope, but I didn't never think he was going to be as big of an artist because I wasn't sure if he could make what would be considered radio friendly songs, but he ended up doing it his way, and they were smashes.
Super.
How's it
smash.
going down? You know what I mean? How's it going down? The joint with Cisco.
Up in here.
You know, but really,
You talking about up in here? It was like
he got some of the biggest records ever. So I'm glad to see an artist that was so dark, so gritty, so authentic, and street was still, but that proves something. Will lead to a whole nother conversation about being authentic, having integrity, staying yourself. You can cover everything, the whole gambit of music, and be successful. So short answer is, you know what I mean? I immediately took to him. I liked him. But it was one thing. I was a big K Solo fan. So when he had that one line on Get At Me Dog on the original version, I didn't like that. I'm like, what? Why you got to say that about K Solo? You know what I mean? That nigga K Solo suck. I was like,
yeah, that caught me all the way. That caught me all the way off guard. Okay, so when DMX first came out, I liked DMX, right? When I heard him on 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Right.
Then Can I Live? I can't remember what was first, what was second, but I feel like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 was before Can I Live. Get At Me Dog, I did not know how to take that shit. You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna be honest with you. And I had this written down too. My first approach to DMX was similar to my first approach to Wu Tang.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know how to take the gimmick part of what they were doing. Like all that buzzing and the bees and the, you know what I'm saying? I completely rejected that shit on its face. You know what I mean? When I first heard it.
Mm-hmm.
All that barking and dogs, and I'm not an animal person.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I completely can't understand. I can empathetically see because I know people love dogs. You see what I'm saying? But that relationship and bringing it to life, and I couldn't buy into that. That didn't, you know what I mean? Like that didn't. Now, I'm also gonna say, I do not like the Rough Rider sound. To this day, I don't like Rough Rider sound.
Right. Yeah, I know that.
You know what I mean? So being a producer-minded person, you know what I'm saying? Being a producer-minded consumer, I'm hearing the music first. If that ain't getting me, then it's going to take me longer to get to what you're saying. So I liked DMX the first time I heard him. You see what I'm saying? The music and the vibe that was being put out, I didn't necessarily gel with. I didn't gel with his music until Blood of My Blood, Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood, third album.
Yeah.
Now, did I party to songs from the first two albums? Is that I think it's
I think that's the second. Yeah.
Okay, second album. That's what I said, but I saw a list earlier today and it had it listed third. But I do believe it was the second album. Yeah,
This is the second.
that was my
Darkest
memory.
Hell, then
Flesh
Flesh
of
of
My
My
Flesh.
Flesh, Blood of My Blood came out same year. Yep.
So that's how I remembered it. So I didn't
Yeah.
get it. I didn't get it, and that had Slipping on it, right?
Yeah.
That's the album that got me. So
Yeah, I
Dark and
think
Hell
it's
is
slipping on that.
yeah, Dark and Hell is Hot. I knew it was a classic. I knew how much the streets loved it. You know what I mean? There's songs on there that I
Right.
definitely got down to, but it wasn't. It didn't click for me. Sonically, it just didn't click for me. You know what I mean?
I feel that. I can feel that. But I want to take both of us back real quick to I
Yeah.
think it's probably 95. You know what I mean? Uh that, that's the time I think I ever heard DMX.
Mm.
And the world heard DMX because DMX, ironically, and this ties into one of our prior conversations about hip hop groups that never came to fruition, but he was supposed to be, I mean, not he was supposed to be, but on Mike Geronimo's first album, The Natural, on the song It's Time to Build.
Yeah.
It's of course Mike Geronimo, but Ja Rule, Jay-Z, DMX, I think rap last.
Yeah. It's pretty much Murder Inc.
Yeah, you're right.
It's pretty much Murder Inc. and featuring Mike Geronimo.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's crazy.
Pretty much, because oddly that he didn't end up Murder Inc., but that's
Yeah, that's another podcast, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's another podcast.
But yeah, so that was the first time I heard him, and so I want to know. Now I'm kind of throwing the question back on you based on 9-5 before we even knew, because he ain't popped until way after that. Well, not way, but a year or two after. So what did you think about him when you heard that record? Which I'm assuming you probably didn't like it because the production wasn't great. But what did you think about X when you heard this dude that come on? And he comes on, check it out, y'all. Check it out, y'all. I didn't even know who is this dude. Like, you know what I mean?
I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I didn't know what to think, and in true honesty, that record didn't make an impression on me at all.
Right.
At all. So it's like a record that happened that had a whole bunch of stars on it that don't mean nothing to me.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like it didn't. It just kind of happened. So at the time, I didn't. If all of those people had been legends already, maybe I would have paid it more attention. But at the time that it happened, Mike Geronimo was the man.
Right.
Think about that. You on the records, Mike
Jay
Geronimo.
wasn't even popping at the time.
No, Jay wasn't the man yet. You talk about Mike Geronimo, Jay-Z, Ja Rule, and DMX at a time where Mike Geronimo was the man.
It's crazy, right? Think of that.
So it was just a record.
Yeah.
Almost like Biggie having a record with Jay-Z. I mean, Shaq having a record with Jay-Z and Big. But it's kind of like when Shaq had the record with Jay-Z and Big on it. At the time, it didn't mean as much because, it wasn't, Jay-Z and Big weren't who they were to become. Now, they were already stars, but they weren't legends yet.
Right.
So it's kind of the same thing. But, so I didn't really, he didn't hit my radar at that time.
Right. Yeah. But I was just thinking, I didn't, and I'll be honest, at that point, I didn't see him. I didn't necessarily like that verse from him. Like Jay-Z and Mike Geronimo had the best verses on there. I didn't like Ja's or X verse, but it's funny because I felt like he perfected the style year or two after when he really surfaced and was coming into his own. Because when you listen to that stuff that he's saying up there, literally is probably one of DMX wild craziest verses. The stuff he said. He said some old nutcracker stuff. He said hitting niggas in the head with 2x4
That's one thing I was gonna say about.
That's some nutcracker stuff.
I'm gonna say something about DMX that most people don't really realize is DMX blew up in an era. He blew up in an era after he learned to rap. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I get exactly what you're saying.
DMX rhyme style does not fit his era at all. DMX is an old school MC.
Yeah, and when you hear him talk about MC, really.
When you sit back and you really just break his lyrics down and his cadences and all that good stuff, DMX is a super old school MC.
Right.
How I took him when he first came out, I didn't know whether to put him in the Redman Method Man You see what I'm saying? Like that kind of bucket. But then I realized he definitely wasn't that.
Right.
After a while, you realize DMX is his own thing. There's nothing to put alongside him. You can't put Pac alongside him. You damn sure can't put Ja Rule alongside him. You know what I mean? Like nothing on Rough Riders went alongside him. It kind of followed his lead. You know what I mean? So it was like DMX was a one of one. You know, he was a one of one.
Yeah, he was a true one of one. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a one of one. But cadence wise and like the way he approached the mic, DMX was a truly old school MC.
Yeah, for
You know what I mean? He made that shit fire, but he was you know what I mean? He was bopping super slow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, he did his thing. He killed it. I'm gonna say this though. I don't know. People do their thing live. And Buster do his thing live. Not to take nothing from nobody else. Buster do his thing live. Public Enemy live blew my mind. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. But DMX live is when people say performance art.
Yeah.
It's that on top of him performing his songs. It's him performing is literally art.
Right.
Then you gotta factor in the songs are art, and you know what I mean, like that part of it. He's performing songs that are art, but him is art, doing what he does. Cause I know, I watched the show 45 minutes to an hour. This man is on stage, no hype man, no dancers, just the DJ spinning acapellas.
Right.
And he ain't missed nothing. No hype, nothing. That means he wrote his songs so that he could sing them from chorus to end.
Yeah.
And we know what that means to us.
Right.
You know, ain't no punches. Ain't no reason for punches.
No punches. Right.
He's an MC.
Right. And it's funny because it goes back to like, that's how the further you go backwards in time, old school MCs, that's how they did it.
That's how they did it. You write the song so that you can perform the song like this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you write it so you can perform it in jail.
Right.
You write it so you can perform it in the lunchroom. You see what I'm saying? Like it's written so that you can perform the entire song.
Right.
That's true hip hop, and that's part of what, like you're right, make him such a old school MC. You know what I mean? And just that, like, and most people ain't even gonna understand what the hell we talking about right now.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like the ability to write a song that you can say from beginning to end, because that sounds simple. But okay, just go pick your favorite rap song and start with the first chorus and say the whole song. Don't miss any lines, any nothing, and finish the song and see what happens to you.
Right, you're right. Yeah, see what happened to you.
See what happened to you. It's not gonna be possible 95% of the time.
Yeah, it's not gonna be possible.
It's not. It ain't. It's just a very, very small percentage of MCs that did that.
Yep.
And he had enough material. Like he had to do it with 95% of his material because his show was comprised of it. And this man had asthma, bad asthma.
Right.
And smoked cigarettes.
Right.
You know what I mean? He was a fucking superhero, bro. Straight up.
Yeah,
straight up. One thing I definitely wanted to bring up. I got a couple things that I read. It's kind of like not stories because I met the man, but just like things that I found interesting because over the years, just reading books, reading his book, you know, that kind of thing. But you got your five favorite DMX songs?
Yeah. Blackout,
okay.
that's off the second album, and this is not in order,
right?
But Blackout, which features Lox and Jay, Slippin', Damien. It's funny. Get at me, dog.
Yeah, I mean, after a while, I understood it
right.
later. Once I realized it wasn't a gimmick, just like with Wu Tang. I think I needed to add that because I placed it out there like they were gimmicks. Once I realized that it wasn't a gimmick from either party, it was easier to buy in. This is who these people are. It's cool
Right.
then. I can rock with that. I ain't got a bark, but no, I'm just saying.
Yeah, yeah, I ain't part. So let me go back. So slipping. Now I'll just say that slipping is just my favorite DMX song ever.
Yeah.
Slipping. Like when I listen to that song, I've cried multiple times listening to that song.
I feel you. I haven't listened to it since he passed because I don't think I can.
Years. Yeah, man, because you're gonna cry for sure.
Yeah.
Like regular days, listen to it. Like that joint just bring you to tears because the story it just touched so deep. You can just feel everything, and the beat is dope. The harmony, everything.
Everything. It's a perfect song. Yeah.
You know what I mean? The way he flow on it, he kills it, yo.
Yeah.
So slipping is my favorite, but slipping, blackout, get at me, dog. Damien, where he tells the story of him and like devil, and then niggas done started something.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And if I had to say my top 5 is honestly slipping, and slipping.
Slipping is like the greatest joint ever.
Slipping is it's like sky's the limit.
Yeah.
You understand?
That's good compared. Yeah.
Slipping is like sky DMX, sky's the limit for me. So
I feel you.
I would have to throw the Get At Me Dog and Damien in there, but like I love Slipping so much that it just knocks ones out of the top 5. I don't need 5. Like that song is so great.
I'm good with Slipping.
Yeah, like so it's I ain't gonna front though. What these bitches want though, what they want from a nigga, that shit is fire.
Yeah.
I was listening to that the other day.
Bangers, son.
That shit is fire.
He got bangers, son.
Yeah.
He got bangers crazy. But this is one thing I want to highlight that, to my knowledge, you can correct me. We've mentioned it already when you read your caption about him from Facebook, but we've talked about it multiple times. He's the only MC to ever, the first and only that I know of, to ever drop 2 albums the same year they both go platinum.
Yeah, debut and sophomore, both of them go platinum.
Right, and he's doing this in an era where you you're selling physical copies, number one,
right,
and where like it's killers around, like spitters, Jay around, Nas around. He's the only person that's rivaling them and really surpassing them in sales.
Yeah, listen.
Killing.
Let's keep it 100. DMX blew Jay-Z and Nas out of the water when you're talking sales.
Facts.
At DMX's height, he was a way bigger artist than Jay-Z was at his height.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's something we've talked about before, though. Every artist that came through Jay's era was a bigger artist than Jay at the time. Nelly, Eminem, DMX. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of them were bigger artists than Jay-Z. But, but DMX was bigger than all of them at one point. He was bigger than Ja Rule. He was, matter of fact, let's talk about DMX saving Def Jam.
Let's talk about it.
Because Def Jam was going under.
Right. And you already know he felt he didn't get his fit. They didn't treat him right at a certain point at Def Jam too.
Right.
And push his music. But yeah, you could probably say he single-handedly, his career kept the lights on for them.
Listen, I'm going to read you the sentence. The man that single-handedly saved...
That's a fact.
Yeah, but what at the end of that sentence though is Shiny Suits saved us from Shiny Suits. Like he saved Def Jam and he saved the world from Shiny Suits. You know what I mean? Like he just did. He came at a time and just completely flipped hip hop.
Right.
Back to the grimy shit.
Right. And made it pop, because there's a lot of grimy people. But he's grimy with mad talent and energy.
Yeah.
So he was able to take it to where, let's say, like an Onyx couldn't take it. Yeah. It was the people that was grimy and street and all that, but they didn't have his level. They couldn't execute their talent at his level.
You know what they didn't have? I dare to say, his authenticity.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like this is the thing about X. I feel like he may have been the most, if not the number one of the most. I feel like DMX, if not the most, definitely in the top 5 of the most authentic artists we got. People that lived the life type of life that he's lived and been through what he's been through, is that's what his music is full of. So
Yeah.
he didn't have to, like, when your life creates a persona for you, you don't create a persona then try to align your life with it. Your life already has
Right.
produced who you are, right? So all you have to do is just speak it. So he was just being himself, and that's why he was able to be so successful, because he really, I don't think, know how to be anything else other than X. That's why you see him in an interview, he talking, he praying. It's
It's who he
just
is.
him. It's
Yeah.
who he is, and it just come across super authentic.
Yeah.
And he never tried to run with no. I've never seen him try on no trend and do this and do that. He just always did stuff his way. Think about this. This man, who else could have done a record with Cisco and it popped like that? Just being himself. He
Right.
ain't changed up nothing.
Right.
The barking is there. The dark talk is there. It's just the way he came across with it, dealing with women.
Yeah.
But X is there. Like,
Yeah,
he
it's all
remained
X.
authentic.
Yeah, I think that's why. I think that's why he went so far though. Like people connected with that human.
Yeah. Right. Human.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? They connected with that human, and not the magic. Not the. And I ain't gonna front like the beats didn't have, like the music didn't have that energy.
hmm
You see what I'm saying? Like it might not have been the style of
It
music I
matched
necessarily,
it.
but
Right.
it
But
definitely matched it. You know what I mean? So they did a good job over at Rough Riders with that. Because I mean, I could imagine a lot of people fumbling that.
I think it's funny. I think whoever we say our favorite producers are would have fumbled it. I honestly do. Like, that's why I'm a big believer that, like, things happen for a reason. Swiss, it should have been them loud ups and down,
Yep.
high instruments, because it matched his energy. Like, if you know what I mean, Pete Rock couldn't have did an album for X.
I'm gonna tell you
know
the
what I mean?
truth. Putting X on a bed of music that we understood wouldn't have worked for X.
Right.
X needed to be on something that sounded completely different than everything else out. So going to pick the best beats for X ain't what X needed. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? Like X needed his own palette to paint on, his own canvas, and that's what he got. It might not have been something that I necessarily preferred, but he needed that. You know what I mean? And it needed, like you said, it needed to be Swiss, archaic, not necessarily well put together early.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Because it didn't need to be polished sounding. It didn't need
Right.
to come from Puff. And Puff turned him down for a deal. He had an opportunity to sign DMX.
Yeah.
It was just
yeah.
like, yo, I don't think, you know what I'm saying, like you sound too rough or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so, but
Yeah.
imagine that had happened.
It wouldn't work.
I don't think we'd have got one DMX album.
No, we probably wouldn't have got one. Yeah, we probably wouldn't have got one.
Yeah.
Cause it'd have been like it'd have been like, well, I was about to say everybody I was about to say the Nas, Rakim, Dr. Dre album, but then I was about to say everybody with Dr. Dre, but I don't want it to sound bad. But like this project, this man don't do the creative differences.
Right.
But that's what would have happened with him and Puff. It wouldn't have. Nah.
Yeah. The only one that saw that
It
today
would've
over
went-
there with Dre was Buster, right? Like the one-offs that went over there. Like Buster was
Yeah.
about the only one that actually got a product out.
Yep.
Everybody else was like, okay, I'm
Over there.
out. I'm done.
Yeah, it's rough over there.
It's rough, buddy. Let's see what
Yeah.
else I got down here. Oh, have you ever read Russell Simmons' book? Well, he got a whole bunch of them, but
But I haven't ever read any of them.
okay. So the one I read, he got to talk about DMX and Jay-Z. You know, they were obviously signed at the same time while Russell was
Right.
there, you know. And he said he's a huge fan of both of them, but he's a much larger fan of DMX than he is Jay-Z. Right? And,
That makes sense.
yeah, and his words were, if you follow DMX, like if you follow what he's saying in his music, if you follow his message, you'll probably go to heaven. If you follow what Jay-Z is saying and follow his message, you'll likely go to hell.
Yeah. Yo, that might be the funniest thing that someone has ever written in a book.
Yeah.
Follow his way, and you go here, follow that way. Yo, that is wild. That's a wild state.
It was super wild. super wild. And I was like, damn, that's harsh. Me too. It's super. It's pretty obvious too, but it was super wild.
Yeah.
Like, damn. I think maybe not so much now. You know what I mean? I think you know what I mean. But there was
I know what you're talking about.
yeah, there was a time where it was pretty obvious. If you follow DMX, you might not go to heaven, but if you got better chance of getting to heaven following DMX than you do following Jay-Z.
Yeah, fact.
You know.
And, you know, what was funny before you brought that point up, I was just going to ask you about a song. I was going to ask you about a song, ironically, Jay-Z, right? And I was just going to get your thoughts on the song before I give my thoughts. But Jay-Z album that you don't particularly like, Hard Knock Life Volume 2 with the Annie theme on it, but he had the song Money Cash Shows with DMX. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on the song, and then I was going to tell you something.
I don't cut the song off. I don't party to it too many times to cut it off. I'm gonna just be honest with you.
Everybody is gonna say that.
Yeah, like if listening to it in the flow of the album, the first time I listened to the album, I skipped it.
Yeah, I get that, but and then I had already heard it. I was like, I don't want to hear this right now.
You see what I'm saying? Like I'm just saying, like
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, if I'm just listening to the album for my first time, I know I'm gonna skip that song.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But after you in the club once or twice, and you hear that do 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 boom boo 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 boo, yeah, you gonna move. You know what I mean? You see the whole fucking place going. Like, it is what it is. You can hate, or you can accept that your ass just didn't get it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And after a while, I accepted I just didn't get it, and I just decided not to hate and realize this shit just riding. Like, money, what? Like, come on, man. Like, this nigga.
Yo.
Like.
What I want to say about that.
How do you make 3 words so catchy?
I know they go. Yo, let me say this. I'm gonna double back to that, right?
Yeah.
How you were so catchy. So let me say this. That is a DMX song.
Oh, dang.
Featuring Jay-Z.
Yeah.
So that Money Cash Hoes on Jay album, to me, that's a DMX song. If you remove DMX from that,
yeah,
that is nothing. That song is nothing.
Bro, I bet you
at all.
I bet you as much money as I'm gonna make for the rest of my life that the original of that song got 3 DMX verses on it. They took 2 DMX verses on it and gave that shit to Jay-Z. Like, he paid good money for that song. That's absolutely
right.
That was gonna be DMX's next smash single, but he had so many. He sold one of them bitches.
Right.
He sold a bunch of them.
Right. The only what's funny is I like Jay verses. He rarely does. He doesn't do bad verses because he's such a great writer.
Right.
But really, the only thing that I really like out of any of the verses, I mean, he said some stuff up there that is dope. The whole song is good, but I just think when you think Money Cash Hoes, you think X.
Yeah.
From the hook to the verses. The only thing that stands out to me, which is funny, it ties back into what I was saying. I'm gonna double back about the hook, those 3 words.
Yeah.
The best line from Jay verse that stand out said, "I know they're gonna criticize the hook on this song.
Like, I give a fuck. I'm just a crook on the song."
That's the hardest line. That I ain't gonna front. That line. That's hard body.
Yeah, it was. But you know, like, we talking about the hook. Jay saying money, cash, hoes, money, cash, hoes. What? You know damn well he took DMX voice out of that hook, and that was DMX.
Oh yeah, because you know that was money. Because we got DMX voice doing it.
Exactly.
It was DMX the whole time.
Yeah. That was a good pull. That's definitely that's one of DMX's best songs with a Jay-Z feature.
Right. You know you got a good song when one of the GOATs want to use your song and buy it from you because you know down there from his album because it's that good.
Absolutely.
And use your hook. Now, and let me say this. Thinking about all of this, thinking about Get At Me Dog, thinking about all the songs, 2 things I noticed. He might be, it's a few others that we can bring up. He may be one of the best hook mans ever.
Oh,
He
easy.
comes up with the best hooks, and a lot of times when artists don't want to come up with hooks,
Yeah.
most of his songs got hooks that he raps.
Yeah, X versus B hooks though.
But that's true too. His whole verse be hooks.
Yeah, so that's how he, you know what I mean? That's how he rock. He just a
That's like
catchy.
his whole style.
That's his whole style. Like his whole shit is like cadency. You know what I'm saying? DMX, my dog spike. Yeah,
Right.
Rhyme all night. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit. That could be
That's
a fucking
what-
hook.
Yeah, chicken, my nigga,
Yeah.
round all night.
Yeah. I mean, it's just all types
So-
of. Yeah, he's a definitely hook phenom, bro.
Yeah, he's a great songwriter, man.
Absolutely.
Great songwriter.
Great songwriter. Okay. I had a conversation with Black the other day. And I was just breaking down the ability to write a song and be able to say it from beginning to end, kind of to go back to that to add to this point, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, well, he was saying, well, maybe that comes from like being able to freestyle so well. I said, well, it may, but there's a difference between freestyling, because that's, you're only gonna say what you have the breath to say because it comes to your head in the point that you're breathing it.
Mhm.
If that makes sense. Like, you're not gonna try to put more words in a
Yeah,
line when you're freestyling, because you're not likely to come up with too many more words than gonna fit in the space in that time.
Yeah.
Right? But sitting down and writing a verse out is the engineering part of it. He was an absolute great engineer, right? Is engineering the verse, getting it written out, getting what needs to be on the page, a song. But then you have the actual construction of taking that engineering and setting it up. His execution of the songs, though,
Ooh.
was on a level higher than most of our GOATs.
Yeah, I absolutely agree on that. His execution of songs was definitely on a higher level than most of the people we consider GOATs, for sure.
Yep. Dare I say his execution of
they would agree.
songs, his execution of songs is partly, in my opinion, why people compare him to Tupac. Not knowingly, but it's partly why. You know what I mean? Like, his execution of the song. It's not like he's saying the illest shit in the world. He's just being honest, vulnerable, and truthful, which makes for a great song. Not the illest lyrics necessarily, but the great song. And then he goes and executes them with that same honesty, that same vulnerability, that same intensity. You're going to have great music, bro.
Yeah.
You're going to have great music. You're going to have greater than most. It's going to impact people differently than most people's music will. Which is the goal of an artist.
Right.
You know? So, yeah, he's definitely in the GOAT conversation. Like, you know, I wouldn't call him the GOAT, but you know what I mean? He's definitely in the GOAT conversation based on skill set and delivery.
Right. Yeah.
Based on our criteria.
Right. And we have there's multiple GOATs. So he's definitely a GOAT for sure.
Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah.
That's easy. And he would have had this impact in any era.
He definitely meet all the criteria.
Yeah. Yeah. You could have dropped him in any era and he would have went.
Mm.
You know? He would have went in any era. I don't care what it is. Like, take that voice and drop it over Brooklyn Drill right now as a young DMX and drop him in today's climate. Man.
Yeah. Which is funny because I actually think he does have a drill record on his new album.
He does.
Yeah.
I think he got a record with Pop Smoke.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I can't wait to hear that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But
So
he just came out doing trap, drill. Like he would have killed it either way.
Either way. He was just that type of artist. He could fit in any era.
Yeah. So a few things that we've been talked about him being a great songwriter, like crazy hook man, like coming up with crazy hooks. But one of the other things is not just the song structure and the hooks and stuff, course performances. Nobody outperforms him.
Nobody.
So you can forget about that. Dang, it slipped my mind. It's gonna come right back though.
No doubt.
But what was it? It was one more category. Oh, he may have some of the best features. When you was mentioning stuff, you got to think of money, power, respect. You got to think about you got to think about
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It is, but it's multiple major records that he featured on, like crazy. He was, because it was time everybody was getting X features. He was going crazy.
Yeah, X show up on your shit, he burning that bitch down.
Out of respect, yeah.
Yeah, if X
shut him down.
I heard that today.
Stuff.
Yeah, I heard that today. Yo, yeah. If X jump on your joint for a feature, he burning your shit down. Like, you could mail it in. He was packing you up for real. Yeah, he ain't play no games on your feature. Man, he ain't play no games ever, really. X ain't never set out to say nothing that it won't dope. It might not, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
He always brought what he felt like was his A game.
Mm-hmm.
Every time.
Never took it easy.
Nah, it never took a day off in the lab. So yeah, I do agree. Like X is a feature guy, yo, with something special. I wanted to say this too though. Before I forget, bro. We like to give people their flowers, and that's a new thing that people, you know what I'm saying, been saying. And we've talked about DMX on the show before, so it ain't like people, if you are listening to the show, then you understand how much respect we have for DMX. Right. You know what I'm saying? But vehicles like Drink Champs and Versus, like events like this really let us know why them shits are so important, yo.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's important that we got to see, you know what I'm saying, Snoop Dogg and DMX on Versus, and everybody, the world got to see that side of DMX for 3 hours.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, that's a side that his friends always got to see, and you might have imagined it was there by watching clips and, you know what I'm saying, things like that, but you didn't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, for now, like, everybody that's a fan of DMX and a fan of hip-hop, period, got to see for at least 3 hours. We got to see that man in one of the most comfortable settings with a friend of his playing some of his greatest music. You know what I mean?
Right.
Without Versus, that don't happen, bro. Shit, without the pandemic, that don't happen.
Right.
You know what I mean, in all honesty, you know, it's a terrible thing to hit the world, but you have to be thankful for the blessings that come out of things. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just is what it is. We wouldn't have got to see that. We got to see him on Drink Champs. You know what I mean? Just like completely give it up a couple times.
Yeah.
You know, a couple times. That's and in that setting, we've seen DMX interviews, but that Drink Champs ain't an interview.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So that setting gives us something different that we would never have gotten the opportunity to see.
There's a different inside look into the person.
Exactly.
That you would not normally see if you wasn't around him or hanging with him.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great point, man. So shout out to them sites.
Yeah, shout out to Versus and Drink Champs, bro. We usually shit on other platforms. But today we're gonna give out flowers. Salute y'all, bro, for real.
Yo, you know what's everything you say, everything that we've discussed, it brings to mind another category that he's number one in. It's like Jay-Z on Blueprint, right? Lyrical exercise, like I'm leading the lead in at least 6 statistical categories. Best villains, enemy. Yo, from the features, to the hooks, to all of the stuff that we've mentioned, his performance, like he's top 5 in a lot of categories. The other is he got the illest stories. I'm glad you brought up Drink Champs. When he talked about pulling a cop over, like, his stories are so wild.
Yo, DMX lived at least 3 lives. He lived at least 3 lives, yo. I said at least 3 lives. I said at least. But he was a
wild.
Was a wild dude. You know what I mean? Like he
Yeah,
was a wild boy.
yeah, we did a show and then he was like robbed somebody.
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing? But
He was wilding, yo.
whatever he felt like doing, he did for sure. For
But
sure.
now, but then like the stories, like he spent all them hours scoping out a dog, then he stole the dog, only to have to return the dog.
Right.
Like it's so crazy. I
Yeah.
took the dog back. I mean, like,
Yeah.
you stole it, bring it back. Told the people like it was running down the street or something.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, when he banged Hitmaker first piece.
yeah. He said he told the girl, I think you left you left your purse over here. Yo, this stuff is so.
Yeah, that dude was a absolute menace. But the funny thing is I kind of feel him. Like I'm pretty sure. You know what I mean? I know for a fact if you get around with enough of my boys,
If we going, yeah, you and I, we going to our rooms for the night, and I am X, and you are who you are,
yeah,
and you came with something. Yeah, fall back. This is mine. I'm
yeah,
taking that.
yeah.
Took it.
That shit is wild. Like what? But I will tell you this, bro. I couldn't even imagine like being who he was as a man, his regular temperament, like who he was,
Right.
and then you add stardom and money to that shit. Cause he had a wild ride before he was a star, so you can only imagine. Right. You know what I mean? And then this man was a star, and then pretty much was retired. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
retired with hella royalty money. It ain't like he ever went broke, in my opinion.
right.
You know what I mean? He might have had tax issues and all whatever during the years, but you tell me DMX went broke at one point in time, you just a lie.
Right.
You mean? So he didn't never go broke. You know what I mean? He might have went to jail for whatever the hell he was doing, but he won't never broke because he sold too many records. You know what I mean? And he was with a team of niggas that won't beating him.
Right.
Right? So he basically lived 3 lives that most, you know what I mean? Like a wild pre-adolescent life, a wild adolescent, wild career, and then a wild after career.
Yeah.
You know? So whew, he lived a full one, bro. He experienced more things, I bet, than most of us experience if we lived to 80.
Right. And experienced it at a higher level.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of these things he experienced like at the highest level you could possibly imagine experiencing, bro. Like he was on top of the world, you know. And that's another thing though. That was probably painful. You know what I mean? To be dealing with that much pain and be on top of the world at the same time. You know what I mean? I don't think a lot of people understand what that's like. You know what I mean? And this is like full transparency. I don't think most people understand what it's like to have that artist gene at all.
Yeah.
Like how hard that shit is. Because for you to be able to create to connect to the art and create the way that most artists can, you have less of a filter on what you're able to perceive and what you're able to receive from the world. You see what I'm saying? Like you see things differently. You see them before people a lot of times, and you see them deeper than people a lot of times. You see what I'm saying? Like you may be able to be empathetic in times where other people can't. That's what allows you to write a song about things, you know what I'm saying, that people connect to. That not being normal don't start once you start writing rhymes. That shit pretty much starts once you're able to perceive the outside world. You know what I mean? Like once you're able to perceive the outside world, it's pretty recognizable to you that you ain't like everybody else. You see what I'm saying? You know? And that shit is not easy. So I could imagine that if I know he was dealing with that, and then to deal with the fact that his family life wasn't really together, and to deal with the fact that somebody spiked his situation with drugs and got him hooked to shit mad early. You just gotta know, huh? Yeah, you just gotta, cut, yeah. I think I'll tell you. But yeah, you just gotta know that dude suffered for a long time. And when he made it and was sitting at the top, that suffering don't go nowhere because you got bread or attention. You know what I mean? If anything, it's a magnifying glass on that shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I guarantee you he's at a lot of peace. I would also I would guarantee you that he didn't wish this on himself. You understand what I'm saying? Like, this ain't something he necessarily wanted. But
Right.
so I don't want people to get that confused either. Just because you go through a rough life and you have to, well, what is a rough life internally might not seem like a rough life out externally. You see what I'm saying? I'm just talking about the mental part of being an artist or a creative.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying? It's because you grow up with, having to deal with that type of shit.
Yeah.
You don't want the pain to go away for a bad reason, but you kind of understand now that he ain't dealing with that shit no more.
Right. And that's a huge relief.
Yeah, for sure. But I think it is. I think what I was just speaking on is the plight for a whole bunch of artists though.
Right.
And why they don't cope so well, and why we see them in situations that we see them in.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Whether it be drugs, alcohol, women, whatever the fuck it is. You see what I'm saying? I think that's got a lot to do with it. And I don't think the public knows a lot about that part of it. And I think they tend to get judgmental because they don't know sometimes. And this is one of them situations where I'd like to at least say it was deeper than him being on drugs. It was deeper than, you know what I'm saying? Like I guarantee you, you know what I mean? It was a lot.
Yeah. Anybody that know anything that has ever listened to him, a full story, walk you through his childhood upbringing, being introduced to the music, getting in the industry, things that went on while in the industry. Like, you would understand
Yeah.
where his pain could come from, or where his suffering he underwent. Yeah.
And add to that his extra keenness based on him being an artist and a creative. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's gotta be torment, bro. You see what I'm saying? Like, to go through what he was going through, but have the sensibility and the awareness and the understanding of an artist in that situation makes that situation 10 times worse.
Right.
You see what I mean? That's kind of what I was getting to, is like, yo, if he got it bad double.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Now, granted, the thing that caused it to be doubly bad for him was the thing that allowed him to rise to the heights that he rose to. You see what I'm saying? But, rising to those heights allows you to see a whole nother level of pain that most people don't understand.
Right.
That's the catch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the catch.
That's a good point. That's a great point, man.
Yeah, and I think I think it's a lot. I think it might get a lot. I think that sentiment might get missed in a lot of people having a discussion about X. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. I don't know, man. What you think?
I'm thinking of other categories that he fit in.
I read a stat that said his first 5 albums went platinum.
That might be true.
Yeah, that's
I think
nuts.
the third album was, and then there was X, maybe the third one.
Yeah.
And I think that did. I think that went platinum too. Yeah, and that is crazy. He's a whole nother monster. Mm-hmm. If that is true, which I know for a fact the first 3 did.
Yeah.
But if all of them, that's crazy.
I could imagine they all did go platinum though. That's exactly what I was about to say. By the time the 4th and 5th album came out, he was so loved that I could imagine 1 million people buying those off the strength, never hearing a single.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, at least 1 million. So yeah, I can see
He
that
had
easy.
strong cult following. And
Mm-hmm.
yo, I gotta say, you know what I mean? I have to say this. Because I'm gonna tell you someone who was die hard when we was in high school when X, like the niggas that started something, all of that, when X came out, is my man Jamani Shaw.
Okay.
Make pleased with him, but you know what I mean, he died our senior year when we
Yeah,
was out for winter break and head on collision
I
on
remember.
Tryon. But I remember that was like he's at my house every day, right? And he started rhyming. I'm like kind of showing him stuff about rhyming, right? But out of everyone, he patterned himself. He most after X had a huge influence on Jamani.
Okay.
Huge. But the funny thing was he would argue. He would be like, "Yo, do you like?" It was funny because, like, now, mind you, I love X and I'm feeling the X, but you at this time, right? You like, I'm still like, he ain't Nas.
Right.
So like, you know what I mean? But I remember him arguing like, "Yo, he the best." Like before I heard anyone say like DMX was like just super great, he was arguing for him like, yo, he's the realest man and blah blah blah. Like he used to be going super hard for DMX.
Wow.
'Cause
Okay.
he knew everything. He knew everything X laid down, man.
That's
At
crazy.
that time, it's wild, man.
Yeah. So that
What I'm
was your.
saying, I can see up to him. Like I can see, like I got to see like someone like literally fall in love with his personality,
Right.
his music, and how hard like when you run into DMX fans, it is like it's funny. Cause I ain't gonna front, this person fans is mad annoying. But Cole fans, Cole like X fans is like Cole, they be like, nah man, they can't do no wrong.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they got to die for X. Like he was a you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Tell him he won't part of Rough Riders, man.
Nah, you couldn't. You couldn't. You couldn't. Rough Riders was like, wow, that movement was something special.
Yeah.
Dare I say that might have been the biggest movement in hip hop. I mean, nigga, it's still Rough Riders out there in every city.
Right, yeah.
Like now,
Yeah.
today. You know what I'm saying? Like, they could go anywhere in America, pick up the phone, and be straight.
Yeah.
That shit took flight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I mean, it took flight like G Unit took flight, but way more deeply rooted.
Yeah. Way more deeply rooted. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And Rockefeller took flight as a brand, but nobody ever felt like they could be a part of Rockefeller.
Right. It was way different. Yeah, it's
You,
different.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But Rough Riders, you could become a part of that shit. You could, you know what I mean? Like you could buy a motorcycle and join a motorcycle club if you so
Right.
chose. You know what I mean?
Right.
And really rep if you so chose in your city. Like it was a different thing. You know what I mean? So, and that don't happen without X.
Right. X X music became the soundtrack for Rough Riders
Right.
because they was already in
Mm-hmm.
different places in New York. But him being a part of them and then him connecting with I don't know why I want to say C Gutter, but I know it's not C Gutter. That's not his name. But X Music
I know what
gave
you're
them,
talking about. Yeah.
yeah, but you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, but X Music became the theme song for that whole basically lifestyle.
Yeah.
But it was dope because yeah, you could like become a part of it. It was tangible, it was real.
It was
And
real.
it was connected directly and to the streets because it was the streets.
Yep.
And then the music reflected that and man, it just took off.
Yep.
And see, that's what's important, man. Like having this is why it's important to me for new artists to stay as true to themselves, to their true selves as possible, because it makes people number one connect more deeply with your music and you. And once people can hear the music and like it, but if they don't buy into who you are as it relate to your music, You're
Right.
not going to, you won't capture a fan.
Right.
You're not going to have a following. But if they like the music and then they buy into the person behind the music, then you got them.
And mess around and
And
let
that's
them
what happened with Cole,
and
Kendrick,
but let them buy into the person behind the music and it actually be you, then you
and
out of
be
here.
you.
Then you out of here. For good though. You out of here and it
Good.
could be 20 years down the line and you still good. Cause those people love you
Yeah.
because of who you are and the art that you gave them and the art that you gave them, not the art that your persona gave them, not the art that some shit you made up gave them, but you. You know what I mean? DMX may be the antithesis of what we say as choosing the correct persona.
Yes.
He may be that. Like he may have gone the furthest anybody could possibly go by choosing themselves as the persona.
Yeah. Yep.
It's still a persona because it's DMX. It's not. He didn't rap as Earl Simmons.
Yeah.
He rapped as DMX, but that is so much of who he is. He, of course, he has some Earl parts. You know what I'm saying? But but he was able to present Earl via DMX.
Right.
Shit, boy.
Wow.
Yeah, like he went further than anybody else that chose themselves, their true self. You know what I mean? As their persona to rap on. That nigga could have rapped as Earl Simmons and would have been fine.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? It would have been fine. He didn't need to be DMX.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, DMX. Yeah, is how he saw himself in his struggle.
Exactly.
He saw himself as Dark Man X. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But
which is funny because that's still not choosing a persona per se. That's presenting who you see yourself as.
right.
I'm gonna present the most vulnerable parts of myself. You know what I mean? Like, as if that's the most wicked parts, the most vulnerable parts, the most depressed parts, the most violent parts. You know what I mean? Whatever. Like, but he packaged them shits in the Dark Man, but they were all him.
Right.
Shit's insane, bro.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, man. He's the. It's funny when you brought up earlier about him basically being the whole bag for Def Jam. Like if there ever was a cash cow for a label, it was DMX.
Definitely DMX. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think people probably gonna get this confused, right? They'd be like, "Yo, how in the hell are you saying DMX was like save Def Jam when Jay-Z was there, Ja Rule was there? DMX was signed to Def Jam."
Right.
You see what I'm saying? DMX was signed to Def Jam and managed by Rough Riders.
Right. And Jay, like it's funny because
Jay was signed to Rockefeller.
right. And even when whatever album started being, because the first album wasn't, but even when he had anything to do with Def Jam, like Jay didn't always sell the most albums.
Jay was
His first three didn't really. I mean, they did the others. It got better progressively.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But they didn't kill out the gate. His first three didn't kill out the gate. Reasonable Doubt, In My Lifetime, Volume 1, Hard Not Life, Volume 2, his first three albums, they didn't kill out the gate.
Right. Let's put it this way. They were making good money for an indie label.
Right.
But we talking about Def Jam.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, Rockefeller was making good money for an indie label. So Rockefeller was seeing good money. Was Def Jam making a mint off Rockefeller? No.
Right.
Were they making good money off Rockefeller, but was it enough to keep the doors open? No, Jay wasn't even signed there.
Right.
Jay was signed to Rockefeller. You see what I'm saying? And they had a distribution deal through Def Jam. You know what I mean? Same with Ja Rule signed to Murder Inc. and they had distribution through Def Jam, right? Or was that even... Yeah, it was Def Jam. It wasn't Interscope. It was Def Jam.
Yeah.
What am I talking about? What the fuck am I talking about? It was Interscope later. But yeah, Def Jam. So, DMX, though, just like the Lox was signed to Bad Boy, DMX was signed to Def Jam. And that dude kept the lights on.
Right.
Period. You know what I mean? Period.
Now, here's, I think maybe one of my last things. I don't know if we was coming to a close, but one of my last things that I would appoint people to that may not have heard it, and if you wasn't, in your teens or older, around 97, you probably haven't heard this.
Yeah.
But it's a DJ Clue mixtape, but the whole mixtape, two sides, 120 minutes, both sides is just DMX, Cannabis, and Nori rapping the whole time over just a bunch of different beats that they throwing on. And then and it's on YouTube now. You can pull up like Cannabis, DMX, Nori, and you can pull it up. It's crazy. DMX goes crazy.
I know he did.
It was one of my favorite things
This
ever.
is no disrespect at all. I don't know how Nori survives in that room.
Well, he doesn't. You listen to it. He don't survive. You know what I mean? He does this one.
He do his little one too, but he get the fuck out the way, don't he?
But Cannabis now at that time he's the star at the height. That nigga is killing every beat they throw on.
Of course,
he's going insane.
Yeah.
But X got such a presence, and you know what I mean? When his X now turn, he goes crazy. Nori is just like, you know what I mean? And I like Nori, but he ain't Cannabis at that time, and he ain't X. His presence isn't that great.
Right.
So
he's a different type of rapper.
Different type of rapper. He just fills that third slot, but they just keep rapping one after the other, and it's the whole mixtape. So it's dope. That's one of my favorite joints.
I'm gonna definitely have to check that out, because I don't remember that. I'm gonna have to check it out.
Man, yeah.
I'm gonna have to get on that.
X going crazy, man.
Yeah, I might make that my listening pleasure tonight.
Yeah. That's the joint.
I didn't have anything else written down. I hit all the points that I had. I don't know if you had anything else.
No, I will say this: that X is the one artist that Jay feared.
Ooh.
He's the one artist that Jay feared. Now, let me try to like give elaborate a little more on that. I'm saying not because he was just super nice though, right? Mm-hmm. Because Nas super nice. So Jay was like, okay, he's a formidable opponent because I know his pen is as sharp as mine. Mm-hmm. But what X got a way greater presence than I do. Mm-hmm. His performance blow my shit out the water.
Yeah.
And his records, he not always wanted to be the biggest artist.
Right.
Have the biggest song. That if you know Jay, that's his thing.
Yeah.
And so X is the only one really that Jay couldn't be bigger than.
Especially in New York.
Especially in New York.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna tell you the truth, and and this was probably bothering Jay a lot. This point about what you're saying was probably bothering Jay a lot. While Jay was specifically trying to knock shit out the park, DMX was just doing what the fuck he wanted to do.
And knocking it out the park.
And knocking them bitches out the park. Yeah. Like, I listened to something today and DMX sat there and said, like, everything I did like from the heart. Like, I didn't do it because I wanted it to be a hit, or, you know what I'm saying? I did it because it came from me. Now, if it took off, then great. But I didn't do it with the intention of them taking off. Man, you can't, if your intentions is to take off and you battling a nigga that's taking off naturally, you cannot beat him.
Right.
What you end up doing is going and buying money cash hoes.
That's what I was gonna say. And using the hook.
And then doubling back and doing jigger my nigga. You just go hop right in their lane.
Right.
Got a girl that loved me forever. Then you like Jay-Z hopped in Swizz and Rough Rider bag for about 2 years. You feel me? He hopped in that Rough Rider bag for like 2 years.
Nigga, what's mama?
Fucking there, yeah.
Straight.
Yeah, that's a
condition of money cash hoes.
Yeah. Coming of Age Part 2, the song after Money Cash Hoes,
Right. Mm-hmm.
is another Rough Rider song. It's two songs before Money Cash Hoes that are pretty much Rough Rider songs.
Yeah.
The joint with the Rangers is a Rough Rider
Rangers.
song.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like,
You're right.
and you don't have that Rough Rider zone without DMX. So when you say he was the only artist that like that Jay was scared of, I 100% agree. Jay knew he couldn't do nothing with X.
Yeah, he couldn't do nothing with
I can't take this nigga on tour because he's gonna wash me every night. You see what I'm saying? Like, the only time this is really gonna work, it's got to be Redman and Method Man. Let him wash them too. You see what I'm saying? Like, let him watch all us. Like, let him watch the whole Def Jam. But I'm not going out with that nigga by myself.
Right.
You feel me? Like, that's not gonna happen, bro. No.
Yeah.
So yeah, DMX was that thing. And I'm gonna tell you the truth. The night that I saw DMX, it was a Jay-Z concert.
Nah.
I don't remember shit. I don't know. How about that?
Yeah.
I don't know which Jay-Z concert it was.
Yeah.
And I was wearing Rockaware, nigga.
Yeah, that's funny.
And I don't know which Jay. I remember what I had on. I don't know if it. I think it was Rockaware, but I was chilling like a motherfucker too with the. But yeah, but I don't remember. I that night DMX impressed me so much that I don't remember the Jay-Z show. It was been a long time, but that's what sticks in my head from that night. Now it was mad years before Jay-Z impressed me nearly that much on stage.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, way later. Magna Carta album is when Jay-Z started impressing me on stage.
Wow. Oh yeah, no. Agreed. Yeah, because it was him nor Nas was impressive at all on stage.
Right.
At all.
Right. At all.
Right.
It was downright boring, actually.
Quite boring. Yeah. Way later, and both. It's funny because both of them got better way later. Like, we went to the Art of Cool festival in Durham here, 2018, and saw Nas, and it was pretty good.
It actually was. Yeah,
it was enjoyable.
Yeah, it was pretty good. And I mean, of course, I think the Fade to Black show, you know what I'm saying, was probably way better than what I saw back in the day. But I didn't see that live. The first live Jay-Z show I saw that was like, oh, Jay-Z really done stepped it the fuck up. Like, and I ain't talking about the bells or whistles of what's going on with the flash and the fire. Take all that out of the equation. I'm talking about what he's doing standing on stage.
Right.
Had gotten better. Like, he was a better MC on stage than he was before.
Right.
You know.
And this another category where X had people beat. He's been great at performing on stage and in front of crowds since he came out.
From the beginning, day one.
That's what he do.
Yeah, day one. And that's why when you talk about the Jay-Z DMX battle, there's no clear winner.
Right.
Nobody ever speaks of a clear winner. Right? We know DMX won that motherfucking battle.
We know that.
That.
It's blasphemy to say that about Hova.
It is. It's blasphemy to say about Hova. But if I'm talking about, we just stood there talking about live, line for line. You got Jay-Z standing here. You got DMX standing here. This ball of energy. There's no.
Washed him.
He washed Jay-Z.
Because that was a street crowd. DMX controls the freaking crowd. His energy moved the crowd. I already know he won.
Yeah, me too. You might have liked Jay-Z's rhymes better. Even in the moment, be like, yo, his rhymes was better, but DMX murked that nigga. Like,
yeah, right. Yeah.
It's like battling 200 back in the day. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You was gonna get washed. I don't give a fuck how good your rhymes was.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, his energy and his bounce was gonna wash you out the room.
Yeah.
You might have his respect, but the crowd is gonna be like, yo, Thule.
Yeah.
It just is what it is. You see what I'm saying? So it was really that type of situation. Like, Jay wasn't gonna beat DMX in those we standing here in front of each other battle. No. Right. The way DMX rap is the same cadence that your battle rapper uses today.
Yes. Yeah.
DMX most natural flow.
Also to make sense. I said only thing is he was great at using that same cadence to make hit records and great albums.
Yep. Yeah, it's because he won't lying. Battle rappers be lying like hell.
Why? Everything. I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know. Did anybody say anything that's the truth in modern battle rap now?
nah,
Shit,
nah, no. We gotta have that conversation. Like,
we are.
yeah, battle rap over the years, the evolution of battle rap.
Now that is, ooh, now that's a conversation.
I'm gonna grab my pen,
Yeah.
and write that down. Yeah, man. I feel like we might have gave. I mean, I don't know that you can give DMX enough flowers, right?
Nah, man, yeah, I don't think you can. Man. In comparison to what he gave us in the
Right,
world.
right.
And
Shit.
oh yeah, another topic. Can we? This is what I'm saying. This is every you saying that sparked another thought that we have not touched on. He's a true artist. He excelled at everything he did. Can we not talk about Romeo Must Die, all Belly, all his movies?
Yeah,
One of the best actors. He
yeah,
kills everything. Everything he do.
yeah.
Everything he do is golden.
Yep. Yeah, he don't miss it nothing. I
He
think
don't
that's what
nothing. He's pure talent.
they call it, a polymath.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody that's like talented at multiple artistic, yeah, multiple things. I think he's a polymath, man. Like as are we. Um, proud to be in that number though. You know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, he's definitely a polymath, yo. Cause I everybody in Belly was acting except DMX.
Right. That's really his day to day. That's how I imagine him from what he told me and what I witnessed of, you know what I mean, in his, you know,
Right.
regular life. That's really
Exactly.
him. That's how he moved. That's how he give it up.
But okay, I agree. But even okay, I agree with that wholly.
Yeah.
To add to that, on a technical level, I felt like everybody else in the damn movie could see the cameras, and DMX couldn't. Like DMX was a natural. He was naturally acting.
But first of all, he's X amount of movies in at that time. He was blowing them niggas out the water. Won't nobody
By
even
Belly,
acting better than him.
he had did multiple movies by Belly. I thought Belly was the first one.
That was X first movie was Belly. I
Mm,
thought he had done
I thought
I
it
thought
was.
he had done two prior.
You might be right.
He did. Let's look that up real fast.
Yeah, keep talking. I'm looking it up. Belly, 1998 was Belly, right? Ain't no
Yeah.
way in the hell he was in no movies before Belly.
Oh, okay.
You like what movie could he have been? He came out in '98, right?
I don't know. I thought, but either would that make it even worse if he had no movies under his belt and he watched everybody in the movie and acted?
That's what I mean.
That's ridiculous.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I
Oh,
think.
it's like Exit Wounds. That was 2001. Man, I thought that was earlier.
Yeah, Belly was the
Cradle
first
to the
one. Bro.
grave.
I
Yeah,
know.
okay.
I know
See
Belly
all
was.
that. Right, yeah.
Shit, I went to see Belly. Me and my daughter's mom went to see Belly together, bro. Good God Almighty. Shit. I still remember sitting in the movie theater. Me and her was sitting in there watching that shit. And the scene when they was down in the basement and DMX made that man strip. It was a dude sitting right in front of us. That early in that scene, they ain't said nothing to dude yet. He just kind of in the scene. He got a couple of lines. He was like, "Oh, that's my man E. Oh shit, there go my man E." And a couple minutes later, DMX is whooping his ass, making him strip. The dude's like, "Oh shit, why you go out like that, E? Damn, they played you out, E."
Yeah, that's
It
crazy.
was like, yo, that was really his man. Yo, he was heartbroken when they whooped that boy. He was like, "Oh man, E, why you go out like that, E?" Like, damn, he was happy as hell to see his homeboy in Belly. His boy took that L though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, man, Belly, 98, fam.
98, yeah.
And those first two albums dropped in 98, right?
Yeah, he was the man. He had a whole trifecta that year.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, those first two albums dropped in '98, right?
Yeah, first
Yeah,
two albums, and he got a movie.
and a hit movie, a cult classic, first year out.
Last. See, that's what I'm saying. You see how the more you look at his story, he just create new categories. The first rapper to have, what I mean, hit record,
Yeah,
what I mean, classic albums and a cult classic movie. Like, who's doing that?
yeah, same year, same year,
Same.
first year, same year, first year. Nobody's ever done these. We can make a list of things that DMX did that nobody else ever did.
Which easily could be one of DMX cult following fans argument for him being the GOAT
The
of
GOAT.
goats. It's hard to
Exactly.
argue against it.
Exactly. That's why I said it. I might not believe it. You understand?
Right,
It might
right.
not be my choice for greatest of all time, but we can objectively make a list and argue from that list and make an argument from that list that DMX is the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it could be. I wouldn't make the argument. You understand? But as a hip hop listener and somebody that understands and loves hip hop as you do, I feel like we could both say I would have to argue against someone
Right.
that had that argument because I understand where they coming from.
Right.
I wouldn't just dismiss them.
Right. Do you know the only artist I actually could think of that
Hold on.
having
Hold on. All right, say it again.
Do you know the only other artist that I could think of that, like, when lining up DMX stats and all the stuff we talked about, that kind of similar, did some of the same stuff?
Who?
LL Cool J. Now think about that.
Mm.
You talking about acting, movies, performance,
Yeah.
like,
It's a short list.
and he ain't did much as X, but I'm just saying he's the only one that even can come close. That the songs you love by LL, like, that's great, or the albums that are great that he gave us, and the performances and his energy that he gave us is great, right? And then when you look at what he did outside of hip hop, from his sitcom In the House, when he was like male nanny, to In Too Deep, which is a cult classic.
Facts.
Like, to multiple movies.
Any given Sunday, nigga.
Any given Sunday. That's what I'm saying. His joint is crazy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So to what he do now, CSI LA or whatever. But, like, that's the only person I could even think that kind of, and he ain't in that, he don't measure up, but I'm just saying even kind of in terms of doing multiple things,
Yeah.
or like killing in multiple categories.
Yeah. Pac is about the only other one.
Pac.
LL, DMX, Pac. You know what I'm saying? That crossed those three.
Cube and Ice-T, but DMX is at the top
Yeah.
because of music.
Yeah, Cube and Ice-T, and definitely.
So they would be the five.
Those would be the five, but then if you think about it, you got the reason DMX would be at the top is because DMX hit the ground running, fam. Like, he hit the ground with a cult classic movie and 2 platinum albums the first year.
That just sounds crazy.
You know what I'm talking about? Like, you know how much, of course, Ice Cube paved the way, but how much music Ice Cube had to give us and how much time it was before Ice Cube. You know, I'm going to take that back, fam. It wasn't as long as we like to think it was for Ice Cube. Between we knowing about Ice Cube and Friday. No, not Friday and Boys in the Hood. Because Boys in the Hood came out in what, 91, 92?
I'm going to look that up. Boys in the Hood.
91.
91.
And when did NWA come out? 89?
Let's see.
You feel
First
me?
album.
Yep.
Their first album is 88.
88. Okay.
Straight Outta Compton is 88. Niggas
Okay.
for Life is 91.
Right. So we gonna say from 88, 87, 88 because he wrote most of Eazy's album too. So we'll say
Right.
87, 88 to 91. That's about 4 years though. That's 4 years. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
That's 4 years. That's if it had been 89 to 91, I'd be like, see,
Yeah.
but nah, that's
Right.
4 damn years. You feel me? Like so.
X
Did
in 1 year,
X
same
and,
second year, first year.
yeah, yeah.
That's
So
wild. And
yeah, so that's the 5 I think we could name, and we just gonna leave Will Smith out, huh? Like he ain't did shit. We just gonna act like Will ain't do nothing.
um, so yeah, we leaving him off because his music cap in the category of music ain't strong enough to even follow him to anything outside of hip hop. Like I'm not saying like he got
I get
great.
it.
Like he
I
probably
get
his
it.
music is probably. I mean his movies. He probably got the biggest grossing movies and the
Yeah,
most movies
of
of his life.
anybody on that list.
Right,
Yeah,
right, of course, right. But that wasn't going on when he was Fresh Prince.
mm-mm.
And
And the
his
music that he did while his music career was going on was trash.
it was trash, right?
The music he was making while he was making hit movies was trash. All his music wasn't trash. Like his early stuff, I think
His early stuff
is
was
bona
good.
fide. It is bona fide.
Right,
But yeah, he didn't hold on to that. And I would
right.
say, I would dare to say that LL kind of drifted from music to completely
Yeah,
acting, as did
he did.
Cube. Um,
He did.
I don't.
X is the only one giving us good music and still acting at the same time.
Yeah, X and Pop. It said
X and
Pop.
Pop.
It said Pop died in the middle of it. X got to see his through.
Right.
That's the
And,
difference, in my
and
opinion.
right. And just me, I include Pac in that list, and he probably is third on that list of the 5 we mentioned, third or fourth. But that's it. That's it. That's all I'll say.
Ah, you was about to say something wild, yo, or you just changed your opinion?
Yeah, I was just say something wild, and so
Okay.
it's not necessary.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. We not here to disparage. We just here to give flowers, not dig nobody up. But yeah, I think you're right though. Like if you gonna talk about like all the things that people had, like I bet you X could draw his ass off.
Yeah, man, he probably can do a bunch
Yeah,
of stuff.
you
Like
know.
I was shocked to find out of him like being a track star in high school. That's
I didn't
wild.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was killing people in high school.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Had records and all type of stuff.
Wow. Damn,
He
man.
was saying
Earl
that-
Simmons, bro. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, bro, this won't be the last time we talk about DMX, bro.
Oh,
We're not gonna hit him with the rest in peace. We're gonna say long live DMX's energy. How I
yeah,
see it, feel me?
right.
We'll continue to get a man his flowers and let's try to take time to give some others their flowers, you know what I mean, while they still here. Maybe we could do a better job at doing that. I think we do a good job, but maybe we could be more direct at doing it. You feel me?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. But with that being said, yo, I'm gonna ask y'all to go to all the social media platforms and follow us at Conversate for a Few. Go to wherever you listen to podcasts and subscribe to Conversate for a Few. Go to YouTube and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll know when we drop new episodes. Stay tuned for the limited edition Few Tang Clan merch, and stay tuned for the Conversate for a Few notes book. I think that's what we need to call it, like notes book instead of notebook.
Right, I got
Yeah,
yeah.
notes book. That just happened in my mind right then too. Like, ta-da, ba-doom. but yeah, man. God bless DMX, bro. Salute the man. With that being said, I'm Jonna.
I'm Alan. This is not a podcast about classical music.
Absolutely is not. This is a podcast about DMX. Make room for the tag.
Conversate for a few.
Hustle. Welcome, man, they had to send me. Hustle from Raleigh, live from NC with your hosts, John and Alan. Relate to the two. You are now listening to Conversate for a Few. Check it on SoundCloud, debate with your crew. They talking hip-hop from the late to the new. From July till June end. No Fridays for me, tune in. Please listen to this podcast.